Hey there, Ram fans. I'm Sydney Wicker, and I'm joined by Luke Zahlmann from the Collegian, and we just wrapped up here in the Swamp where CSU lost to the Florida Gators 48-10. Luke, this was a difficult game for CSU. What were your takeaways in today's game?
I think special teams is going to have to go to work this week. They really had a terrible game. They had 2 turnovers as well as 2 missed field goals. That's just stuff you can't have happen. And Wyatt, being a veteran, I think he can rebound from this. Ryan's a little younger, so it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. He didn't really have too much to do with the 2 blocks. The first fumble probably would have been blocked anyway, and the second was blocked because they just missed assignments. So it's something that I think he could look at the film and say, I can do better, but at the same time, I think as a team we can do better, and it's not necessarily just on me.
I like what Bobo had said in the press conference about that. This isn't something you can let slide when you play a team like Florida. You can't come into a game like this and expect to win when you're making little mistakes like that. And maybe that's just something CSU needs to work on a little bit more. I know 2 weeks ago, Coach Bobo said his team was unprepared. So I don't know if that unpreparation came into today's game again or what it was for CSU, but those mistakes are unacceptable if you want to try and win a game like this. But I do think there was a few impressive things from CSU, a few good takeaways. I know that their defense started to shape up a little bit, but I do think it was pretty unacceptable for the way they played. I mean, I know that we talked about the athleticism from Florida just being a lot greater than what CSU has faced before, but there was a lot of runs that they just let happen wide open, and they just took the entire field, and that's not something that you can do in a game like this either.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because today was probably their best chance to upset a team like Florida. The crowd really wasn't too big. They didn't really get going until that blocked punt for a touchdown. And on top of that, as VJ Banks was saying, half of their team's from the South, so the heat is not something that they had to deal with quite as much, as well as Bobo knowing, being from Georgia, he knows what this heat can do. So this was probably their best chance to upset a team like Florida, a team that was in the top 25 last week. It's just one of those things where their athletes are just a little better. On the long run for a touchdown, he just burst through a hole, though it was small, and got past the entire defensive backfield before they could even blink. So it was one of those things where the athletes of Florida really took advantage of small mistakes by CSU.
Yes, and they definitely did take advantage there. I like that you pointed that out, but they're going to do that. You're going to see that in any kind of team that's a lot greater than you in that aspect, and that's just not things that you can let happen. I know CSU's CSU's offense did have some impressive plays, but I think the thing that impressed me the most was seeing Colin Hill come out here for those last couple minutes and really drive this team and find some momentum, because that's really hard to do when you're down 10-48. It's hard to find some kind of momentum like that. And I think Colin Hill just came out here ready to play and ready to play some football, and that really helps him in the long run.
Yeah, I think it will possibly pay off in the long run, playing in an environment like this. It's something that he's not really used to. Last year, Nick Stevens played when they were in Tuscaloosa, so it's one of those things that he got a little exposure to. He was able to stand on the sidelines, get some exposure to, but the QB competition for CSU is starting to ramp up a little bit because KJ, he didn't play very well. He had quite a few drops, which aren't on him, but overall, he wasn't able to move the offense very well. Colin Hill is slowly working his way back, and though I don't see Colin Hill overtaking him soon, as a captain of the team, he does have the trust of his teammates. So the second he is healthy and ready to go, he'll probably see the field.
Yes, and he could definitely be a dangerous player for CSU, and having 2 healthy and good quarterbacks could be something that would really help CSU in the long run. I know the crowd level in here tonight was really cool, and that's something a lot of the players have played in before. Fans were really loud doing their chomp and all, so I think that was another element that contributed in today's game because there was so much energy in the field, and that's something Bobo tried warning these players about, but you can't really warn them until they're in the atmosphere, really feeling for it. So I think that was a big deficit in today's game. But the Rams will be back at home next week, but that's all we have for you tonight in Gainesville. Thanks for tuning in to CTV Sports. I'm Sydney Wicker.
And I'm Luke Zahlmann.
Have a great night, Rams.